about Feelsgiving?
Yeah, let's talk about Feelsgiving. Oh, I think he's pretty much going live right now, so we can talk about Feelsgiving now. I had a blast.
It was so much fun and so tasty.
I mean, not only just the stuff that we had to consume, but sitting outside in the fire pit.
I know.
The temperatures.
What an atmosphere. It was just Canna-esque. Perfect.
And they were so nice to allow us to be in their home.
I know. Shout out to Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin and Emily. Shout out.
They got
Shout
a
out
great
to y'all.
kitchen too.
I know. Banger. Banger kitchen.
Plug out a half an hour early so I could make the mashed potatoes in their house.
They were telling me you made mashed potatoes in the house, and you were the only one who cooked there. It's like, no one, yeah.
I left my masher there though. All right.
All right, y'all. Well, hey, y'all. Happy Monday. Welcome to The Feels, a Feel State Florissant online exclusive segment live at 5:30 with
Ish.
Jeff and myself, Dr. Vex. We're going to start off today talking about cans of food. Not canna related, but it can be related. I know y'all have several cans in your pantry right now you haven't got to yet. Why let them sit there until they get pushed to the back and expire? Bring them down here to Feel State Florissant and we'll make sure they get into the right hands.
That's right, Doc. Right now we're accepting food donations through December for TEAM, T-E-A-M, the Emergency Assistance Ministry. The people they feed in St. Louis County can really use your help. So to entice you, Feel State Florissant is offering you 5% off all purchases made in November if you bring non-perishable food items.
So go ahead and hook a person up in need with a can of soup, a box of crackers, some juice boxes, shoot, even instant oatmeal packets. When hasn't a packet of oatmeal come in the clutch for you?
Always.
Right, and like Jeff said, all this month, you take care of someone else, we'll take care of you. You'll get 5% off all your purchases, accessories not included, my bad, in November if you bring in some food. So why don't we get to our first topic tonight? How to choose a Chemovar.
You heard it correctly. Chemovar, not strain. A strain is a type of virus, or the consequences to your back from improperly lifting something, and believe me, I know. Improperly lifting something is the reason I have a medical card in Missouri, and why I had a card back in Maine. See, back when I worked for an evil pharmacy chain, I was moving 24 packs of bottled water from A to B when I felt a pop in my back. 10 years have passed by and the muscles still haven't healed right. So that's why it's very important for me to choose the right Chemovar. Now, a Chemovar is a chemically distinct entity in a plant, with differences in the composition of the secondary metabolites. In English, that means how many cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids a plant has.
Sounds complicated, doesn't it? Well, cannabis is growing up, and once we know better, we do better. No more, Dr. Bags, which strain treats pain? Which strain treats anxiety? Which strain helps me sleep? Strain, no mas. Instead, folks, now it's proper to hear, Dr. Bex, what Chemovar treats pain? So, inside each Chemovar grows a host of chemicals, cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, vitamins, enzymes, the list literally goes on. So these chemicals are what help to define the kind of experience a person can expect to have when consuming cannabis. So one's experience is the key to picking a Chemovar. It's time to look beyond high THC percentages and clever names such as, I don't know, Purple Rain OG, but Princess Estates should holler at your girl. Names don't mean a thing about that strain about here, baby. What did I just say? I said names don't mean a thing about that strain, baby. That's why we at Feel State are here to help you.
So that's why the first step in choosing a Chemovar is to understand what it is you're buying. Now this is important whether you're new to cannabis, picking back up on cannabis, or as one of our patients, a cannabis connoisseur, so to speak, is fond of saying, I've been smoking weed since you was in diapers. Now, a lot of patients choose their medicine because it's either an indica, a sativa, or a hybrid, and they expect those species to deliver specific results. But those terms don't accurately reflect the true goings-on inside a cannabis plant, And it's important for y'all to know where those terms came from.
So sativa refers to just a part of the botanical name of a plant species. A few hundred years ago, back in the day in 1753, Swedish botanist Carl Linnaeus classified a tall European plant with thin, serrated, or spiky leaves with the name Cannabis sativa. But years down the line in 1785, French botanist Jean-Baptiste Lamarck classified a new species of plant from India as Cannabis indica. His plant was short and squat with more broad, serrated, spiky leaves, thus the terms sativa and indica. Now, nobody classified hybrids. In the world of cannabis, a hybrid is what you get when you mate two different chemovars. Now, my educated lads, I shouldn't hear the words sativa, indica, or hybrid when you walk into field state. That is, unless you're a farmer who grows cannabis and is interested in sorts of things like the shapes of leaves, like it's the 1700s. Instead, my canna scholars, let's start talking experience. That's more modern anyway.
I wouldn't mind living in the 1700s. Anyways, now the thinking these days is a sativa is going to leave you uplifted and an indica is going to leave you in the couch. Now, while this may be true for lots of people, it's not true for lots more. For one of our co-workers here at Field State Florissant, who would describe himself as neurodivergent, sativas leave him sluggish, while indicas give him energy and vigor. The point is, cannabis can affect everyone differently. So, if cannabis affects everyone differently, how do people know what to choose?
Well, Jeff, with our help, people can learn how to identify the important stuff, both the THC, CBD, cannabinoids, and terpene profiles of a product. So, the first place to look for that information is simply on the label. A lot of us are already familiar with cannabinoids like THC and CBD, but on a label, they are expressed in percentages like 17.84% THC or 0.75% CBD. Those numbers are called the cannabinoid profile. Now, most products here in Missouri only indicate the cannabinoid percentages of THC and CBD, as they are what people are paying most attention to. But there are many minor cannabinoids that need to be considered when choosing a chemovar, like CBG.
CBG is a minor cannabinoid that, in addition to wonderful anti-inflammatory properties, also acts as an anti-proliferative. Now that means it helps kill bad malignant cells. Cancer. Excuse me.
Wow.
Another minor cannabinoid that is starting to show up and gain in popularity is CBN. Now CBN is what THC turns into when it gets old. So if you find a long forgotten joint in your sock drawer and decide to smoke it, there's a really good chance you're just going to fall asleep. That's because when CBN and THC work together, they produce a sedative effect. So you can expect to see CBN turning up in products formulated to help you sleep.
I'm so glad you mentioned that old joint, Jeff, because I definitely have a nug or two of ancient mystery weed laying around from my glory days. So I'll just add that little stash to the collection of new stuff here at Field State Florissant, like robots. Right now, they released their potent 300 milligram apple pie gummies. Yes, 10 per package. Each gummy has 30 milligrams of THC and a delicious cinnamon dust coating. So we also are carrying Keef's new baby 12 fluid ounce cans of Bubba Kush root beer, and each cute little can contains a convenient 25 milligrams of THC and comes with a convenient resealable top. No more flat sodas.
You know, back when I could consume sugar, I used to love making Bubba Kush root beer floats. The cannabinoids bound very well with the fat in the ice cream, making my experience over the moon. I only wish they printed the terpene profile on the can.
Me too, but why do we care? Because terpenes are chemicals that give chemovars their smell and taste. Think this, terpenes, taste. They also have many medicinal benefits like pain relief, relaxation, even anti-anxiety properties. Unfortunately, though, the state of Missouri particularly doesn't require growers to test for terpenes, so very few growers are out here doing so. That means you're going to have to be like Toucan Sam and follow your nose wherever it goes. Your nose knows. Ever smell a Chemovar that smelled amazing? Or even a Chemovar that smelled like absolute trash? Well, your nose was giving you a hint as to what your body would respond best to. Chemovars that smell better than the other will leave you with a better experience, while Chemovars that smell worse will likely leave you with a disappointing experience.
Right, Doc. Now, if a Chemovar smells earthy and funky, it's probably going to leave you calm and relaxed. But if it smells citrusy or gassy, it's probably going to leave you feeling focused and energized. Now, not energized like you just put away a double espresso, but energized like you're going to bang out those dishes you've been leaving in the sink for too long. Chemovars that smell like a little bit of both are probably going to have a little bit of everything.
Well, speaking of a little bit of everything, did you know that you can purchase a whole ounce of Flora Farms' cannabis for only $240?
Say what?
I said $240.
Oh my.
Oh, anyways, excuse us. You can mix and match that ounce from any available Chemovars, ranging from Alien OG to ChemDog 4, with a minimum purchase of a quarter or 2/8 per Chemovar per ounce.
And we're also offering a mix and match of $400 ounces from Heya Wellness. Again, quarter minimum per Chemovar, but where else can you go home with a little bit of everything from Flora or Heya?
I don't know, Jeff. I just don't know. So picture this.
Mm.
You're at Field State.
Mm-hmm.
You have in your goodie bag your ounce of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You got your 2/8 of blueberry cookies.
Mm.
Your 2/8 of Alien OG.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2/8 of sour kosher.
Oh, tell me more.
And 2/8 of Bubba Fett.
Love it.
Yes. Next, you're wondering, how'd you like to feel today?
Mm.
Uplifted? Relaxed? Want some pain relief? Some insomnia relief? I don't know. What do you want to feel? Well, the first thing to do is just check the cannabinoid profile. While it doesn't determine everything, knowing how much THC and CBD a Chemovar has is a good first sign indicator. Knowing the THC percentage will let you know how psychoactive an experience you have might be. The higher the percentage, the more psychoactive it can be.
And knowing the CBD percentage will indicate how much of a buffer against THC it will provide. Now, CBD binds to the same receptors as THC does. And when CBD shows up at the party, THC decides to dial it down a bit. Now, that's why it's always good to have some CBD on hand for those infrequent times you overstimulate your endocannabinoid system. And after you've considered the cannabinoid profile of a Chemovar, the next step is to check the terpene profile.
Okay.
Now, like Doc said earlier, Missouri doesn't require terps to be tested for, and there are only a few on the market that do. Illicit will print theirs right on the label wrapped around the jar. Ratio vape pens made by Proper will also print a terpene profile on the label, but that's it. Now, I know it costs to test for terps, but come on, people. Our patients need to know what's in their medicine. Even the label on the bottom of the bottle of tea I had for lunch had the amount of protein, sugars, and fats printed on it.
Come on. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, Jeff. I'm sorry that we're failing you. But once we've considered the cannabinoids and the terpenes in a Chemovar, the next step we need to consider is dosing. Now, this is very important whether you're a seasoned vet or a novice. Always start low and go slow.
Mm-hmm.
This process is called microdosing. It's using a small amount of cannabis to achieve the maximum benefits and or psychoactive effects of THC without encountering effects like paranoia, short-term memory loss, or cannabis-induced anxiety.
Now, it's important to note that right now there is no standard dose. What affects me one way can affect you another. So in a very real sense, we are all experimenting. But that experimentation can lead to finding what's called your biphasic dose. That means as you consume cannabis, you enjoy its benefits to a point. But beyond that point, you make your medicine less effective and invite those unwanted side effects Dr. Bex was mentioning. So when you find your biphasic dose, put the bowl down.
Put the bowl down, people. To help you dial in your correct dose, we've created a dope journal for you. Literally, a dope journal. Go to www.myfeelstate.com, hover your mouse over patient info, and click on Download Guidebook. From there, not only will you be able to download our patient guidebook, which contains a wealth of information, you're welcome, but also blank journal pages. These journal pages are the roadmap to your cannabis journey.
Now, on each journal page, you're going to be able to document things like method and time of consumption. You can record what you've eaten for the day, which is very important to consider when you're consuming edibles. You're also going to be able to write down dosing information and the cannabinoid and terpene profiles of all the products you are consuming. All this information is going to help put you on a better path to wellness.
And last but not close to being least, I'll point out what to do in case you overdose or overstimulate yourself on cannabis. Common to cannabis users across the world is the phenomena of being too high. What do? Can't just unsmoke the weed, throw up all your edibles, or down a bunch of water. What do? Stop, drop, and roll.
They taught me in high school.
No, I kid, but simply do your best to grab some CBD. As Jeff mentioned earlier, CBD binds to the same receptor as THC and causes a reversal of psychoactive effects of THC. This smarty pants effect
Take a breath.
will in fact keep you less high. That, and get this, lemons and black pepper do the exact same thing. That's right, just travel to your kitchen and suck on your nearest lemon or chew on a handful of black peppercorn. I'm not kidding, y'all. Try it out yourself at home and shoot us a comment on how it worked out.
I don't know if I'm going to suck on a lemon, but I'd try the peppercorns. All right, now, before we take some questions from the audience, we want to mention just a few more new products. We've added a bunch of new Chemovars from Flora Farms. We've got Sap, Early Lemon Berry, Chemdog No. 4, Blueberry Cookies, Alien OG, and Bubba Fett is back and better than ever.
Yes.
All right. So, why don't we turn to our producer, Corey, and find out what kind of questions our audience members have. Hi, Renee.
Renee, hey,
Stop, drop, and roll. I love it. Oh, you love your journal. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for making that comment. Really, it is incredibly important to fill this out because it is your complete guide map to your cannabis journey. And this is good for whether you're a novice or a seasoned smoker like myself. Sometimes I like to experiment with different products, use different bowls, and I like to record exactly how each one made me feel. And this, it's right here for you, right here for you.
It's also free 99. You heard me right. Free 99. That's $0. $0 to record in your journal and then talk turkey with literally the best people you got here. Me, Jeff, any budtender at Field State will talk turkey with you about what went on in your journal, what dose you're at, how you felt, what you ate.
And when you run out of pages, all you have to do is go to our website, myfeelstate.com. In the upper right-hand corner, click on How to Be a Patient. From there, you're going to be able to go to Download Guidebook, and there you'll have two options. Download a PDF of this entire guidebook or download more blank pages.
Facts.
All right, what other kind of questions do we got? Let's see, why can a strain like Blue Dream in Missouri be different than Blue Dream in another state like California? That's a great question. Well, part of that is people have different growing techniques out there. You can top a plant, you can film it, you can lollipop it, you can use low stress training. All of those are going to affect how a plant grows. You've also got different growing mediums. Are you using soil? Are you going soilless? Are you using hydroponics? Then you've got things like different environmental controls and pest management procedures. Then you've got also things like some Chemovars are grown from clones, which help preserve genetics, but some are grown from seed, which have the potential to go hermaphrodite or express unwanted genetics. I hope that answers your question out there.
Shoot, it created some questions for me.
If you guys have any questions about anything we're talking about, type it up in the comments here on either Instagram or Facebook Live. You can also shoot us an email at info@myfeelstate.com. You can reach out to me, Jeff Rowse, JEFFROWSE at myfeelstate.com. Bex, you want to plug your email?
BEKKAH Johnson at myfeelstate.com.
We would love to hear any questions, answer any questions you have, and seriously, we'll put in the work. We'll do the research for you. All right, what do we got, Corey? Where do I buy the grow materials?
Great question.
Okay, I would say the first place I would go, you got to hit up Google. I know, that's not what you were hoping to hear from me. And seeds. Okay.
314 Garden.
314 Gardens? We can do a little looking up that for you, but I'm glad you mentioned seeds because I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. The state just released new guidelines that the public's going to have the opportunity to comment on. And one of the things dispensaries are going to be able to do, they're going to be able to sell patients clones now.
Woo!
Now the clones have to be 8 inches or shorter, and you're only allowed to purchase 8 clones in a 12-month period. That may not sound like a lot, but you create yourself a good mother plant out of that clone. You can clone and clone to your heart's content. As far as good growing stuff and seeds, we're going to have to look that up for you. So while you would like to keep it local, amazing. Love it, man. All right. I'm going to do some research on that right now while Bex answers our next question, which I believe is, how can you microdose flower?
Well, Jeff, in this lucky questionnaire, microdosing is simply starting with the lowest dose and going slow, like I said earlier. And you would pinpoint that to find your perfect feel state. We want to use your lowest effective dose to avoid the development of a tolerance or even an onset of unwanted side effects whenever possible. So what do I mean by lowest effective dose anyway when it comes to flower? That's a good question there. So what I've learned from studies is that 2.5 milligrams of inhaled or vaporized THC is recommended to start with. That's a typical microdose, which what is 2.5 milligrams of THC? That's literally a pinch of weed, like a matchstick amount, which equates to about 0.0025 grams, a baby amount of weed. And for those who have a PAX vaporizer by chance, like I do, that's equivalent to 350 milligrams of THC in a packed oven chamber, or 0.35 grams. And just to go back to what I want to establish is the most effective dose for things like pain, for instance. You just take the least amount of cannabis required to provide the level of effect needed. So by taking less and only increasing your dose when needed, you may decrease the likelihood of developing a tolerance to the benefits of cannabis while also minimizing intoxication from a dose.
So start low, go slow. Okay, here are some hydroponic places you can look out. Check out St. Louis Hydroponics Company in St. Louis. That's actually where I went to get my supplies when I was attending the Cannabis Science and Operations program at St. Louis University. There's also Grow More Hydroponics in St. Peters, and check out Loud Bank Garden Supplies, also in St. Louis.
Nice.
So, Corey, do we have any more questions out there? He's checking, and you're never supposed to have silence whatsoever in any kind of broadcast. They taught me that in radio.
Well, they taught me a lot in radio as well, like not to chew gum and not to say swear words or look crazy.
What the F are you talking about?
What the bleep? I believe it's in.
All right. Can you walk us through how you would find your optimal dose?
Okay, I got that, Jeff.
You got this?
I got that. So, for inhaled cannabis, all you gotta do is take, like I said earlier, 2.5 milligrams, otherwise known as that little pinch or matchstick size nug amount, and using your preferred consumption device, inhale 1 puff for 2 to 5 seconds, then wait 10 to 15 minutes until your next inhale if you need it. Like, you could be good after that one puff. If you weren't satisfied after that one puff, take another puff. Wait 10 to 15 minutes. And along this time, you can be recording in your journal how it made you feel. And the literal, like, onset time, the time you took that dose, like, we are getting really nitty gritty into the time, like, just real nitty gritty stuff. But
sorry, I'm running the teleprompter. I've lost where she is. Where's the X?
I got you.
You got it?
For orally ingested cannabis, you want to start with 2.5 milligrams as well, or in edibles world, that just typically means a fourth of one gummy, because one gummy is typically 10 milligrams in Missouri at least. And you take that fourth of a gummy and you wait for 60 to 90 minutes until consuming more, if you feel like it. So how do you feel? Do you feel like you need more? Take a little more. You feel good? Chill out. Like, it's all experimentation, but at least we have this lovely journal to make it a pinpointed experience.
So document the time of dose, length of onset, and the length of effects. And keeping track of this is going to help your bud tenders at Feel State, like myself.
Or myself, a clinical cannabis pharmacist.
It's going to help you determine which dose optimally affects you. Do we have any more questions? What is the coolest thing in there right now? You know, we've got something called a Gravitron. I have yet to see somebody purchase it, but it is a glass consumption device. You fill it with water, and then as you raise the interior up, it draws the smoke into the bottom. And then when you fill the chamber, you push down and it rockets right up into your mouth.
Whoa.
Back in the day, we used to do it with half a 2-liter bottle of soda, and we do it in the tub.
That's ratchet, Jeff.
That, I think, is one of the coolest things that we have here. Come on down to Feel State at 444 Howder Shell. Check it out. We can't give you a demonstration, but we will be able to show you what we've got here.
And I'm probably a little biased. My favorite, coolest thing here is the PAX 3. That's a vaporizer for those who don't know what a PAX 3 is. And it's the coolest thing for making cannabis medicine. It doses, like I said earlier, each chamber is about 350 milligrams of THC or 0.35 grams of THC. And just knowing that fact, you can play around with your dose. Like, I can space it out, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like, I can get to the nitty gritties of all this stuff.
And we have
so cool. 2
different types of PAX 3s here. One that does just dry flower, and another does dry flower and concentrates. So again, come on down, 444 Howder Shell. Check us out. We love to talk to you guys about cannabis. We talk all day long. Do we have anything else? Ratchet, they love the comment Ratchet.
I was just keeping it real, okay? Gotta get real to get healed. Okay, people?
Oh, hey, talking about getting real, some more about the new rules and regs that they're putting out. They're also saying
Not again.
You can't chemically convert any other cannabinoids out of THC or CBD. So what they're trying to do is say getting rid of Delta 8.
Okay.
But what they're also doing is they're going to be getting rid of CBN, CBG, other minor cannabinoids that have to be converted from major cannabinoids.
Right.
Like the CBN that we have in our robot's nighttime recipe or the CBC in the robot's daytime. If those laws pass, we probably won't be seeing those minor cannabinoids in products. So any patients or bud tenders out there listening to that, you may want to make public comment right now and say, hey, I get it about Delta 8, but leave the other minor cannabinoids alone. All right. I think that's going to take care of it for this, The Feels. That's right, it ain't live at 5:30 anymore. It's The Feels. This was officially episode 2. Thank you all for tuning in. Next week, we are going to take a deep, deep dive into cannabinoids. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Right on.
Yay, we did it.
Felt like it was like a half an hour, maybe? 40 minutes?
It's 6:12 and yeah.
And we started late, though.
Yeah, we did.
And it also feels